morning, everyone. Today is a very special morning. It's one of my favorite types of day. It's new car day. We are taking a little road trip here to Long Island, New York, and this car that I'm looking at is going to be my new daily driver. Let me give you a little history of my daily drivers. I have a pretty awful track record with cars, buying them with the intentions to daily them. My last vehicle was a 2007 BMW Z4M Coupe. It checked all the check boxes for what I was looking for in a daily. It has a decent engine. The 3.2 liter S54 is enough horsepower and enough torque for a daily. It has a capable suspension. It's semi-comfortable. Front engine, rear wheel drive, limited slip differential. It's a great dual purpose car. You can cruise and drive it comfortably on a longer trip. But when there's the opportunity to asshole it around and hoon it, it could do that too. It's a great dual purpose vehicle, but being such limited numbers being brought over to the United States, only 1,812 between the United States and Canada, I kind of felt bad putting a lot of useless miles on it, so it only lasted for about 4,500 miles as a daily before I retired it. I mean, I still own the car and I'm going to keep it, but I don't want to put useless miles on it for no reason. So I needed to find something else. I've been scouring around. We got my wife a 2006 Mazda RX-8 Shinka, and I was highly considering one of these. It's a fantastic car, arguably one of the best handling cars I've ever driven out of the box. But the only Achilles heel for me, at least, is that the lack of power and torque. You really have to use momentum to get the rear sliding and to kind of bring the car to its limits. And it is awesome. It's really a shame that Mazda never offered the car with, say, like naturally aspirated 20B and around 300 horsepower. It literally would probably be the perfect car. So the criteria is the same: front engine, rear wheel drive, limited slip differential, something that I can hoon, something that's comfortable for long trips. So I was searching around, and I had a couple cars in mind, but the one that I ended up finding and the one that I'm going to pick up today is a 2001 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. So it's a big departure from anything that I've owned. It's a big car. It's long. It's 179 inches long. Big engine. It's a lot different from anything that I've owned. So I'm looking forward to kind of having a big engine, big torque, push rod V8 to kind of experience for a little while. This will be another checkbox in the automotive checkbox list there to hit off. So I'm not sure how long I'll keep it. I've driven Vettes before in the past. They're not the most graceful things. They're certainly not the most friendliest at the limit of grip. They're kind of more of a point and shoot car. So I'll see what I could do with a little suspension tuning, maybe upgrade the shocks and play with the alignment, and if need be, up the spring rates, and see how I can get the car to drive, and if I can get it to drive how I like it. And it doesn't give me any grief, I'll definitely hold on to it for a good amount of time. But if not, then I'm getting it at a pretty decent price point, so I don't see them depreciating any more than they have at this point. I think they're at the bottom of the line, so now's the time to buy. And I'm sure I'll be able to sell it with either and break even, or maybe even put a little bit of money in my pocket if I don't end up keeping it. So I'll as soon as I get it, I'll do a little video for it and talk about it a little bit and kind of what my initial impressions are. So I haven't driven a C5Z. I've only driven fixed roof coupe C5s, which is the body that eventually became the Z06 body, and I've driven C6 Z06s. So I think the C5Z is probably the best of both worlds, because it's not as much as the C6Z, but the gearing is much shorter. It's also shorter than the base Corvette or the fixed roof coupe, so it's more usable on the street. One thing I took away from the C6 Z06 was that at road speeds, if you want to have a little bit of fun, you're pretty much doing it all in second gear. The second gear is long as hell on that car, which, you could change the final drive ratio and make it a little bit more normal and usable for the road. It definitely get faster. But the C5Z, it has enough power. It has gearing that's more ideal for street driving and street hooning, so I don't really have to touch it out of the box, hopefully. Aside from the suspension tweaks, but other than that, I think it should be pretty good. So yeah, I'll post up some videos and we'll talk a little bit about it, and thank you for watching. Alright guys, so here it is. Here's the 2001 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. I didn't post the video right away because I kind of had to give it the GQM touches to make it up to my standards. I wasn't too thrilled with the overall condition of the car when I picked it up. Starting with the paint, the car looked like it had been sitting underneath a pine tree for the God knows how long. There was sap and bird poopies everywhere. Not an ounce of wax on it. So I brought it right home. I didn't even want to show anybody that I had it because I was so embarrassed by how ugly it was. I brought it home. I put about 16 hours into the paint right off the bat. Gooby gonned all the sap, clay barred the car, compounded, polished, waxed. Went through all the mechanicals, did all the fluids, oil, transmission, differential, clutch fluid, brake fluid, coolant, upper lower radiator hoses, new thermostat, plugs, plug wires. I think that's just about it. There was a couple small issues with the car. The oil pressure sending unit was no good. That's a common issue, I guess, with the LS engine, so I replaced that. The hazard switch relay was no good, so I didn't have turn signals, replaced that. Other than that though, everything else was okay mechanically. It looks like the front crank seal might be leaking a little bit, and that's common on this, so probably over the winter time I'll take the car down when I have a little more downtime, and I'll put a different harmonic balancer in it and change the front crank seal. Other than that though, the car's actually not too bad. It's all stock minus a K&N intake and a Corsa axle back exhaust. The Corsa's a little bit beat up, and it's a shame because it actually sounds really nice. You can't hear the exhaust at all while you're cruising around, and it makes a nice deep throaty growl like when you get on it, but it's a good exhaust for a daily. However, it is a little bit dented and beat up, so I'll probably end up trying to look up for a stock titanium cat back and just throw that on there. Other than that, it's got these beat-ass wheels. I hate them. I really hate black wheels, and I especially hate these. The fake rivets, the black, the polished lips, they're just god-awful ugly. So right now I'm just gonna look for a set of the OEM speed lines, put them on the car, and start going from there. Otherwise than that, oh, I did take out the stock shift knob because that thing's beat looking too. Shorten the shifter a little bit because the throw is like literally driving a freaking pickup truck. And the OEM steering wheel is next to go because I can't stand looking at that when I'm driving. Other than that, it's actually really comfortable. I would say that this thing is even more comfortable to drive than my Z4M coupe, so for a daily, I'm pretty happy about that. The seats have literally no support whatsoever. The seats have no support whatsoever, but they're kind of meant for more larger people, but they are extremely comfortable. You just kind of kick back in them, recline, and they're squishy, and you just putz along on the highway in 6th gear at 1800 RPM. It gets good gas mileage up there, and it's really not that bad of a car when you kind of get in it and drive it more aggressively. It's a little dangerous. I would imagine that all the videos that you see of Corvettes, I understand why people crash these. You can't really be ham-fisted in it. You got to show the car a little bit of respect. Definitely the suspension doesn't like bumps and unevenness in the road. When you're going fast and you're turning the car, the suspension will hop pretty easily. I don't think there's a lot of travel in it. Maybe that's kind of a design with the transverse leaf springs, but the car is pretty stiffly sprung, and I like that. I don't even know if I would ever have to even increase spring rate on it with the tires that I'm going to run for the street. Maybe upgrade the shocks, go with something a little bit better valves, but for now I'm really happy. It's nice having a big engine car. It's nice having a nice, comfortable, and quiet car. So I'm sure I'll have updates later on down the road when I do a little bit more to it, but for now I'm just gonna keep it as is and drive it. So thank you very much for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments and you want to know a little bit more about the car, feel free to leave in the section below. I'll do my best to answer it. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Catback. The Corsa catback's a little mangled up, so I'm probably going to end up switching it out for a stock titanium.
Axle back, not a catback.
You seriously just fucked up that whole thing.
Edit it out.
I can't.
You can edit it out.
No.
You can't edit it out?
Just redo it.